All right, we're going to try this again. Hello, I'd like to talk today about Fibonacci. All right, because everybody uses Fibonacci. I feel like it's a good place to start, and it's one of those drawings indicators that it can be wishy-washy and it can leave room for a lot of interpretation as you go in the field, especially when you have situations with big wicks or a lot of sudden volatility. It can depend on the user to kind of improvise somewhat in certain situations. If the real body of the candle is only 20% of its full wick movement, like what do you do with that? Do you use the extremes? What about if there's a discrepancy between exchanges? Where do you go then? What do you use for the anchor points? So, what I would like to do is set out to find a methodology, a system that is repeatable and simple and does not require a whole lot of finagling in order to make it accurate and work well. So, I think I've managed to do that as best as I can find. I don't see this method represented anywhere already on the internet or on YouTube for that matter, so I figured I would make my video about it. Okay, so what we have here is a naked Bitcoin chart on the weekly. Just so we all know what we're talking about, I'm going to be working with the Fib retrace today. What you might be tempted to do is this, low to high, left to right, and you get your Fibonacci retracements, right? But you might be saying, hey, this is a black swan event. This is some crazy wick that breaks structure. It's not, you shouldn't really consider that. Why don't you use the daily close? Or why don't you just ignore that entirely and use this as the pivot low? I don't know. Who's to say? It leaves room for interpretation, right? And there are events like that all over the place when we're making decisions in trading and technical analysis. So, first of all, what I'd like to do is switch over here to Excel. Okay, so I calculated my own Fibonacci numbers. I encourage you and everybody to always do your own work. Find the numbers for yourselves, find the methods for yourselves. Don't just copy other people. Don't copy me. Don't copy anybody else, okay? Because if you do it for yourself, then even when you fail, you're still learning. But if you're copying someone else's method and you fail, you've learned nothing. You've just learned one person not to listen to when you shouldn't have been listening to anybody or follow. You should listen to people, don't follow them. You know what I mean? Okay. So what I have here in Excel, obviously, you see the Fibonacci sequence 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, etc. We all recognize that. I have calculated it down to about 9 decimal places here. The identity for phi. And in case those of you who don't know, some of the secondary phi ratios, like the 382, is calculated by taking x, divided by the n minus 2, x divided by n minus 3, x minus divided by n minus 4, etc., etc. Right? So that's how you get the 382, 236, 145, etc. Okay? So what I've done here, here's phi. Here are derivatives of phi. If we move to the right, these are square roots of its former, right? The square root of the 382 is the 618. Square root of the 236 is the 485, etc., etc. And then I've colorized it so that when we are in trading view and we're making decisions, we can see at a glance intuitively by the color how derivative that node is, or how much respect maybe we should expect. In theory, at least, that's how it's working. Okay, it's always, I like the idea of assigning colors to things. It's just the more information you can put into an indicator that synergizes with your intuition, that's what it's all about. Make your brain do as little work as possible to receive that information is ideal. Okay, so I've colored this in. I'm using fuchsia as the identity of phi, red is secondary, yellow is tertiary, etc. Okay, and then I filled in everything between fuchsia and blue. I filled in here already. You can see, let me pull up the options there. You can see I've done all that, okay? And at this point, what I would do, I'm going to take it off of log for a moment. Look, where do we have gaps in our coverage? In the mesh of the Fibonacci, where are the gaps that we want to fill in? Well, there's a big gap right here between the 0.5 and the 618. So we're going to refer to our Excel sheet, 0.5 and the 618, which is really the 485 and the 618, right? So you got 618, 485. We look over here, 618, 405. What's in between them? 548. So we're going to grab that value, copy it, bring it over, and I'm going to use the color like brown for these extra ones we're putting in there. Let's make this dim so we know it's a minor. Okay. Oh, look at that. How do you like that? Okay, and we're going to keep doing it for all these, wherever the biggest gaps are, we're just going to start filling it in, right? So what's this? Between the, I can't read that, 382 and the 486. Okay, 382, 486, 486, 382. We got the 4308. Okay. Make that dim. You see how I did that? And now we got that in. And you just keep going about filling in wherever the mesh is thinnest, where the coverage is worst. Okay? Until you have as fine of a mesh as you want to have. And I'll show you the finished product that I made, this one number 4 here. So now you've got something like this. A nice, evenly paced Fibonacci network. All right? But that doesn't really solve the problem. We got the Fibonacci numbers, but that doesn't solve the problem of the anchor points, right? So here's the really cool part I wanted to share with you. I like to always use the daily for drawings. I think the daily is the best time frame to use. Gives all of the participants the time to actually look at the market and have their say in it. You know, everyone in the world, after a day, everyone in the world who wants to look has seen, right? So a day is a good natural psychological level to use. And so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to actually flip over to the point and figure chart. And if you're not familiar with what the point and figure is, it takes away the time scale. Okay, so this x-axis here is no longer time. It's actually purely defined by the progress of price action through what it's called boxes, and you can define those boxes nominally by your own choice, whether it be like 100 units or $100 or 1,000, whatever, um, or the way I've got it set up here, because Bitcoin, you know, we're in the exponential age. Bitcoin, it uh it moves logarithmically, right? So we've got this option here in TradingView to use the ATR. And that's what I like to do. So what it's actually doing here is it's calculating the current modern, like far right edge. It's calculating the 14 period ATR, and it's retroactively it's assigning boxes to the previous price action over history. Okay, so we're gonna keep those settings, and here we go. And now we're gonna set the let me delete this and just do it over. We're gonna set the fib retracement. What's the primary trend here? Boink. Boink. That looks good to me. What does that look like? We flip back to regular candles. Wow. I like that. I don't know how you feel about that. I think that's extraordinary. Respect. Okay? And notice it is not on the extreme. It is not on the daily high. Neither on the lows. It's using what it's essentially doing is it's truncating the price to the nearest ATR factor, which in this case right now is this, right? And it's drawing it there. And this, if you use this method, it's the most consistent, accurate way of getting good Fibonacci's that I've ever found. And surprisingly, it's not represented anywhere. So I figured, hey, it's an opportunity for me to make this video, right? So I got a couple examples here. So AMC and GME, these are two ones that are great examples because you got this sudden surge in volatility just out of nowhere, right? And it leaves a lot of questions. Like you're trying to fib this. Where do you put your where's the bottom? Where's the top? How are we drawn from here to where or what? Okay, go to the point and figure. It makes it super simple. Okay, we can go. Hey, there's a low. High. Done. What does it look like? Look at that. To the pip. It's astonishing how often this works so well. right? And this is not a level you could have guessed, right? So many people, they're trying to like intuitively, they're adjusting, they're holding the control button so it doesn't magnet snap, and you're just like, is this the best? Is that the what do I do? You know, let's look at GME. I think GME is one of the best examples of all, actually. Let's delete this. Where's the dominant trend? There are a couple different things you could choose, and you can use the all-time trend. But what I think is dominant right now is this. We go back, we look, super simple. And look at this right here. How could you have targeted those highs on those wicks? There's no previous support and resistance right here. I mean, I guess you could use the open of this candle. How would you have guessed that? How would you have calculated? You're just going to arbitrarily choose the open of one candle? No, you're going to choose the close, or you're going to choose the extreme, the higher the low, right? But when you use the point and figure method and it truncates it to the nearest ATR, it just always works. It's just so natural and it's so simple, and there's no finagling I have to do to make it fit. It's beautiful. I love it. And I'm really surprised no one else on YouTube is showing this, so I had to make a video. But that's just about what I have for you today. Uh, Give it a shot. See if you like it. See if it fits for you. And if you think I'm a fool, let me know. Okay? And I'll adapt. But until next time, thanks a lot, guys.